Hey guys, Jeremy here, and in this video I am going to talk to you about the pros and cons of working from home as a new entrepreneur versus working in a traditional work environment. If you don't know who I am an expert acquiring off-market properties direct from sellers, and I have made nearly 8 figures and done over 425 transactions since I started doing my business in multiple markets in 2017. So let's get started. I got a cheat sheet here. I typically do because, let's face it, I'm a little old, a little scattered, and I want to make sure that we stay on topic here. But the pros and cons of working from home as a new entrepreneur versus a traditional work environment. Listen, when we all get to quit our W-2 and get rid of the golden handcuffs and be free at last, right? Free at last from the confinements of a cubicle, office space, a bad boss, work, whatever the case is. You're finally on your own, working on your own business and working from home. Man, there's like nothing better, right? It's what an amazing accomplishment. Many people will never ever experience that. Most will dream of it, but many will never even get there. And if you have done that, congratulations. Seriously, you're the select minority that have been able to do it. And working from home is a blessing and a gift, and it's so much better than being stuck in the traditional work environment. But with that being said, there are pros and cons to it. And I am going to share some pros and cons from my experience of working from home on my business now for over 5 years, and basically built all my markets and done all of our 400 deals and our $1 million markets, and nearly $8 million in revenue at this point, all from a kitchen table. You don't necessarily need to have a big fancy office. I just will say that you're actually looking in my first office that I've ever had, and that's only because we have 2 kids out in college now, so we're down to only 3 out of our 5 kids, which has allowed me a basement bedroom turned into office after all these years. But you don't need it, but it's very helpful. The reason why this is important is because we want to make sure that you can stay productive, make money, and stay focused in your business. There are a lot of distractions from home, all right? There's a lot of things that could keep you from being productive. Let's talk about some of that stuff today. Pros. First, no more commute. No more getting up early and driving through the traffic and rushing out the door to, hurry up and be late at a boss's office, right? Heck, no more bosses. You're the boss. Hallelujah. No more commutes. That's one of my favorite things that ever happened to me was I did not have to drive in traffic anymore. Now, I'm so spoiled. When I actually drive in traffic, I'm like, how dare there be traffic at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I want to get somewhere? I don't see it very often. I'm very blessed and very fortunate to do that. It's one of the great things about working from home, that you can, don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. And that brings me to like time freedom. Like, I have the freedom of my own time. Nobody's dictating my time anymore. I have it back. I control my time. I need to be more responsible with it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in my cheat sheet in this video, but I have time freedom, and there's nothing better than being in control of your own time. Amazing, amazing, amazing feeling. So another thing is, depending on who you are and where you are in life, but the ability to weave family and personal time along with your work time in and out throughout the day, right? So you can get some of your laundry done, you can get some of your dishes done, you can do your grocery shopping, you can hit the gym, you can spend time with your loved ones, you can play with your kids, get them off to school, get them off the school bus, right? Go to a school activity, make sure you're at the after school activities to watch all your kids' sports and, whatever after school activity events that they have. You can be involved in all of that, and that is priceless, right? You cannot put a monetary value on that. So that is amazing. So you have that ability to weave things throughout your day now. Imagine that. I'm going to work for a little while, then my son has something going on at 10:30 at the school. I'm going to be there. No longer do I not be able to attend these because I'm stuck at work or my boss won't let me because we have to make a deadline. You can now be available for your family and significant loved ones as much as you choose to. Again, amazing. Now, speaking of your business, you have the ability to work on your business as much as you want. So if you want to work 12-hour days, 16-hour days, 20-hour days, you can. I don't always recommend that, but you can, and sometimes business, especially when you're starting out your own business, requires a lot of effort. You have the ability to work when you want to work. You don't want to sit around and watch Netflix or play video games. You can work. And it's a lot better putting in overtime on your own business rather than overtime at a job that you don't like for somebody you don't like, or a boss is mandating it, or whatever the case is, right? So you have the ability to work as much as you want. You have the ability to work in your pajamas or your underwear. Listen, these are my Lululemon sweatpants, okay? If you watch my videos, I'm always in them. I hardly get dressed out of sweatpants. And the only reason why I'm wearing sweatpants is because I'm in the Northeast and it's still cold. Give it another month or two when it gets warm, and all I wear is tank tops and shorts. I'm literally just in, casual attire all the time, which is incredibly liberating for this guy. I'm going to show you a picture here, and that is a picture of some suits in the gym. And I'm going to just share a quick story. That picture, one morning I was at the gym before my 9 to 5. And this is right when the first year, we started the business back in 2017. We were basically, working our wholesale business at night and weekends along my full-time job, which I was traveling, and it was a lot. It was a lot of hard work. But we would go to the gym because I've always been pretty committed to my fitness for like the last 25 years. It's been basically, a staple in my personal development and my success. And, so we're at the gym and we're getting there, and it's early morning, right? Everybody's there at the same time. It's not the after work crowd, which is kind of the same thing, but it's a before work crowd where kind of the 30-something, 40-something-year-old men and women go. Usually the young crowd usually goes after work. So I'm there, and then you can just see all the suits lined up in there. And I just looked at that and I said, God, I don't want that anymore, because I had to wear a suit and tie in my job. I was wearing it for years. I was a traveling salesman, and it would be hot, and I hated it, and I didn't want to do that. And I was in the military, and I had, as much as I was proud to wear that uniform, it was really nice when I didn't have to wear the uniform after a while. So I would look at that, and I took a picture one morning and I said, I don't want this life anymore. So I printed out that picture when I got home, and I literally stuck it up to my bathroom mirror, so I would see it every morning when I woke up and every night before I went to bed, a picture of what I was working for. And for me, that was freedom from getting out of that attire and escaping the W-2. That's exactly what that picture signified for me. To not have to go to the gym at that time and put on a suit and be one of the many other people that were doing the same thing in the rat race, that I needed to make sure this business worked. And that thing was up there for 2 years before he took it down. Now it shows up a lot of times in my social media memories, and it's just like, wow, man, I haven't had to wear a suit outside of a wedding or a funeral for years, and I love that. And it just brings back that feeling of like, oh man, I'm so glad I don't have to wear that anymore. But that was a motivating factor for me. So I printed that out, and it's one of those things, working from home, I get to wear whatever I want. I can show my arm sleeves, right? All my tattoos. When I was in my professional job, I had to cover it all up. It's the little things. Whatever works for you is, can bring you great value at home. And that's what's just a very motivating factor for me. You get to control your own schedule. We kind of touch a little bit about weaving the stuff in and out of your day, but you're in control. Nobody is dictating your schedule anymore. You don't have to be at work at 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 6 a.m. You don't have to leave it you don't have a half hour for lunch. Whatever the case is, you're in 100% control of your time, which brings us back to time freedom. Having control of your own schedule and your own life and your own time is just an amazing feeling. It's not going to be easy, right? But it is going to be amazing, which is a great segue for the cons. Well, what is the number one con in my eyes? You control your own schedule. So as much as it's great to, have the ability to control your own schedule, it actually could be a detriment to you if you don't control your schedule well. So you need to make sure you have discipline to schedule yourself properly with time management, daily agenda, and finding work-life balance, which is incredibly challenging. You would think, now that I'm home and I'm not gone 8-10 hours a day at some office or some work environment, I'm going to be able to handle work-life balance a lot better. It even gets more complicated, right? Because now you're in control of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I mean, you're in control of your schedule. That's very difficult. You need to have discipline. You know, we don't want to be hitting the snooze alarm in the morning, right? We still want to get up, have a productive day. We don't want to be watching TV during the day when you should be working. We don't want to be playing video games. It's okay to spend family time, but you want to make sure that you can find that balance, which we'll talk a little bit more about. It's not easy. Another con is, you know, you work too much, right? And you start ignoring your family. So now you own your own business, you're working from home, and you feel this obligation, like, I have to make this work. I have to make this work. And you put these blinders on, and you're 100% full speed ahead, which is great that you're fully focused. But your family and significant other ones, right? Significant others and loved ones are being like, hey, what about us? And you're like, I can't do anything because I have to get this business. I have too much stress. I'm going to go crazy, right? And that's a normal feeling to have. But you have to be careful you don't work too much where your loved ones, your family, and significant others suffer from that, okay? And then on the other hand, you don't want to spend too much time goofing around and not working that you can't get work done and generate revenue, right? So you'll find that some people will just play video games all day, or, you know, or will just find ways to not do work, like procrastinate, right? To find other things around the house to keep them busy. Maybe it's just repairing something in the house, working on different chores in the house, right? Mowing the lawn, whatever that case is, to procrastinate working on your business. And then you have the other people who work so much on the business that nothing else gets done. So those are cons that you have to be aware of. So I'm going to give you some solutions from my experience of overcoming some of this stuff. First of all, time blocking. Time blocking is a great technique of allowing to make sure that you spend time with the family, loved ones, chores, but also your work, right? So set an agenda. Make sure that every day is the same. Now you can have some flexibility and make your days fluid, which is kind of nice. But what I would do is build out a schedule to keep as a template to keep you pretty consistent and routine. Because let's face it, you probably been working on a routine, right, or a certain schedule for a long time. And as liberating as it is not to be able to do that anymore, your body and your behavioral traits are kind of acclimated to doing things in that nature. So it's best to kind of mimic that to some extent at home until you get a better control of things and you start becoming more productive, and then you can start making some small changes. But my feeling is when you start working at home, you know, build yourself like an 8 to 4 work schedule. But, you know, make sure you time block. You know, I'm going to get the kids off to school. Maybe you get up in the morning, go do some personal development. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Have some morning activity, then get the kids up, get them off to school, have breakfast with them, right? Have your own breakfast, and then start work for a few hours. Have lunch break. Maybe do something around the house that you find joy, or something needs to get done. Spend some more time. Get the kids off the school bus, go to an after school activity, come home, work for another hour or two, spend some time with the kids and dinner, right? So try to figure out a schedule, but time blocking is great. And what I would say for you people who are like this, if you really want to be productive with time blocking, there's, you know, I can't remember the book, but there's some studies on it that show, you know, you could be hyper focused on something for a short period of time, but you get burned out. So if you're going to work for 3 hours, consider a schedule during those 3-hour time blocks where you do 30 minutes uninterrupted hyper focus activity on whatever productive task that you need to do, revenue driving productive task, right? And then take 15 minutes, check your phone, walk around, get a drink, go to the bathroom, then come back and do 30 minutes, all right? You could do 45, 15, something like that. But don't think you're just going to be like 3 hours just, you know, ignoring everything. You'll burn out. And this will keep you more productive. So time blocking is a great technique for that. For me personally, it's been a morning routine. I couldn't recommend a morning routine enough. You know, I still like to get up early. I like to have my personal development time in the morning, so I can work on enhancing my skills as a coach, as an investor, as a business owner, as a leader, right? I like to learn all the time, so I do a lot of my morning reading when the house is quiet before everybody else wakes up. Then I like to get a lot of my morning exercising done and activity done, right? It could be going for a walk. I used to run a lot, things like that. So that is some good stuff to do. Then, you know, you get the kids off to school, but having a morning routine that sets you up for success every day, right? So I would not think about like sleeping to like the last minute, getting up, being all rushed around like you typically do, and eating breakfast and watching the news or TV, and, just try to have a more productive morning. It'll set you up for a much better success working from home. I would recommend don't even turn the TV on at all. Just my personal opinion. Focus on productivity over activity. This is an important one. We're going to deep dive this for a second, okay? So revenue first as opposed to busy work. So what happens is it's really easy to do a lot of activity and feel like you've gotten a lot of work done, but you really haven't. So, especially when you're talking about the wholesaling space, the investor space, people who are working on off-market acquisitions, they will bounce around on Facebook pages and said, I talked to a couple people. I had a phone call with an investor. I picked his brain. I went into different groups and read different articles. I pulled up some other articles and read. I ran some comps. I worked on the CRM. I fine-tuned the CRM. I worked on our website. I worked on our business card. I worked on our Facebook page. None of that shit matters. That's active work, right? Is that actually generating revenue? Not really. So what you really want to do, is making sure that you're always working on revenue first activities over anything else, right? What drives revenue in our industry is talking to people. So if you're not on the phone talking to people, going on appointments talking to people, or doing something that's going to set you up to do both, you're really just doing activity work. If you're, working on the perfect email or the, follow-up campaign, or you're working on it, pulling a list and putting everything in Excel and trying to make it all perfect, that isn't going to generate any deals, right? You need to be talking to people. Now, I understand some of that stuff needs to get done, but if you're spending, hours and days and day after day on that stuff, then you're not going to generate any revenue. You're just going to make yourself feel like you're getting stuff done. You're going to feel busy, and it's going to feel good. You're getting all these little tasks done, but they're not tasks that drive revenue. So you have to really be focused on revenue driving tasks. So again, talking to people, going on appointments, building your cash buyers list, making sure that your marketing is going out. But first and foremost, it's just, you need to be talking to sellers as much as humanly possible. That's what your day should revolve around all day, every day, if you're in wholesaling and off-market acquisitions. Talking to distressed sellers. Everything you should do should be focused to spending your time there, because that's what's going to drive the most revenue. Because you need to time block, right? And sometimes we talked about how you get hyper focused on your business and like you feel the weight of the world, like everything depends on you making sure this works out, and you can forget about your loved ones. As much as you still love them, you don't mean to, you just feel the stress of making this work. I highly recommend scheduling dates with loved ones and family members. So for me and Shelly, we have a day every week where I, basically time block time, and we could do different things with it, but it's her and I spending time together. No kids, no phone calls, no emails, no meetings, nothing. It's just her and I. It's not on a Friday night. It's not on a Saturday. It's like on a Tuesday. We may go get a manicure and a pedicure. We may go out to lunch. We may go out to breakfast. We may go for a walk. We may go see something like a movie or a show. Sometimes we actually enjoy going to the floor and tile store to pick out things for a flip, and we just walk around, we'll get some coffee and just make a date day of it, right? So, but we're dedicating a certain day and time to spend together to foster our relationship, and that's really important. So you can do that with your significant others and loved ones. You can also do that with your family, right? So we have 5 kids. We always made sure that we were there for the kids after school, taking them out and spending one-on-one time, and juggling 5 kids and one-on-one time is hard to do as it is. But you could schedule date and times with this and just put it in your calendar and make it a must, and work your work life around these dates, just like you would work your family around your previous job, right? So you could add some of these techniques in to give you a little bit more balance, to make sure that you are spending time with people you love and love to spend time with you. All right, so I'm going to give you a tale of 2 investors. I can share some personal story here with you, some people that I know personally. So I know of this investor that was married and had two daughters and wanted to get in real estate investing. And we were working with this person. Very, very smart, motivated to be a real estate investor. But as time went on and this person was working from home, this person found himself doing a lot of busy work, setting up, TikToks and content, working on writing bandit signs, working on like the Facebook page and their website and the email signature and things like that weren't really revenue driving activities. That spent a lot of time, I would say too much time in this circumstance with their family. Was very distracted by that. So days would go by and there weren't any phone calls to sellers. There weren't any appointments with sellers. There weren't any efforts to contact sellers, right? And as time went on, nothing really generated. There was no leads. I think we did one deal and we had to cut the cord and pull the plug because this person wasn't disciplined enough to focus on revenue driving activities. Now, this person wanted to spend time with their family, which I love. Great family person. Great family, by the way. But was really just doing a lot of busy work and activity work that made this person feel like they were doing something, but they really weren't doing anything. And as time went on, there was no income as a result of these activities. So that situation just fizzled the field. Now I know this other person who's on the complete opposite spectrum. Now, this person is a stud and one of the hottest working people I ever met. And this person said, just teach me what I need to do, coach, and I'll go do it, and work their butt off. And during this time, had one child, decided to have more children, and over a course of a couple of years, worked day and night, round the clock, like Shelly and I did when we started our business. And this person went on to a mind-blowing, when it was towards the end of their, I would call this a bull run of productivity and activity. Just very, very impressive. Did 78 deals himself as a single acquisition wholesaler in 1 year. Think about that, 78. You know how many deals you have to manage, how many appointments, how many calls, how many dispositions? Did it all. And this person was amazing, but burnt himself out to a point where, it was affecting his home life. His wife was getting affected because, he wasn't really present. He was home, but he wasn't present. He was always thinking about work and, the stresses of that and the financial aspects and everything else. And and this person was like, fly, and then crashed, burnt out. And that happens. And, we never saw it coming at the time, but that person burnt out and needed to just step away from the business. Has just said, oh, I can't right now. It's too much. It's affecting me personally. It's affecting my health. It's affecting my mental being, right? So that can happen too. So you can have one person who wants to be an investor that doesn't really do anything, right? And just pretend to be an actor, not driving any revenue. And then you have another one who wants to be an investor so much so that he's willing to, he or she is willing to work so hard that they burn themselves out over time. It's not sustainable. So it's really, really hard to find that balance. Here's what I recommend. 2 things. 1, recommend reading the book, The Miracle Morning. I read the book, The Miracle Morning, after second year in business, going into business in the year 2019. We had some things that happened at the end of 2018. After a pretty decent year, it looked like it was going to be like the demise of our business. And I was very down around those holidays. But as I typically do, I'm going to persevere and just continue getting better. And I came across this book, The Miracle Morning, and it was a game changer in my life. And I was always a morning person, but this taught me how to put a very diligent morning routine together, which set me up for great success. So I did The Miracle Morning, and I did it the way they said it. Now I do a very different version of that today, many years later. But I still wake up with a very diligent morning routine. That Miracle Morning book, man, catapulted me to an amazing success, I personally believe, after hitting a very down the end of 2018 to having a tremendous year in 2019, a pivotal year of growth and success in our business and me personally. So I highly recommend reading that book. It's a tremendous, tremendous book. I love The Miracle Morning. Just understand that work-life balance is never going to be perfect. It's just not. It requires effort to improve at it. And at times, one is going to be more time consuming than the other, right? So at times, work's going to be more time consuming than life balance, right? And then life is going to be a more time consuming than your work balance. And they both have the pros and cons of one being more than the other or less than the other. There's pros and cons, but you just got to be patient with yourself and just know that you have to work towards improvement. It's never going to be 50-50, and if it is, it's going to be for a split second. Work's always going to outweigh life. Life's going to outweigh work. You just have to find the balance. Just be aware of it, right? So you can fine tune it and make it maybe less of a big, significant change, but more of little subtle ones. So it seems a little bit more even day to day. And just remember, guys, not only be patient with yourself as you work towards improving that, but everything we do in all business and life is progress, not perfection. So don't beat yourself up if you don't get it perfect. Just keep working on progress. All right, guys. Well, if you're facing challenges inquiring off-market properties, wholesaling, increasing your profits per deal, listen, we may have a solution for you. While I don't want to pressure you into clicking the first link in the description, there's a video that explains how we can help you and help address these issues. But listen, I want to be transparent here. So we're here. It's a sales funnel, and it's designed to offer you something through this video. But my main goal, however, is just to provide you value in this video. So, if you found some value in it, I would appreciate you if you could give it a like. Obviously, that would help the YouTube algorithm, so it can recommend more videos like this to you and other people who are looking for this kind of content to help them on their journey. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment. I'll make sure I answer them, maybe even do some videos on them. And, listen, I poured a lot of work, time, and effort into this video. If you could subscribe and support me, that would mean a lot to me, really, truly. I'm trying to build this channel so I can touch and reach more people. When it comes to off-market acquisitions, right, we're able to provide value to our local communities. The more people I can teach to do that, the more my reach can help other communities around the country, and that's what I want to do. So thank you so much for your support. Take care.